welcome to the first annual Wisconsin and Missouri State Fair retreat. Y'all made it. This is the start of a culture that we've been building over the last 2 years. So many of you have been working at the fair for a few years. You may notice that there are many new faces in the room. And also at the same point, there are also many faces that are no longer here, right? That you maybe saw at previous state fairs. And, they just essentially were not invited to work this year just because, their numbers weren't up to par or, some other reason, maybe not a team player, entitlement. We're trying to erase all that stuff and create a new culture here. So this is our commitment to creating high standards for not only sales, but also teamwork, growth, and also a positive mindset and abundance mindset as well. So it may feel uncomfortable for those of you that have been on the team for a while. We made you drive or maybe even fly. I know some people, Abs got here at 4 a.m., after work in his office. Philip Tice had a flight canceled and still made it here by 1 a.m., which is great. It's uncomfortable, come all the way up to the Wisconsin Dells for a one-day in-person meeting. And you might be receiving less days than you have typically worked if you've been on the team for a while. But this is important for our culture and growth for our fair program and our state fair program. That's why it is appropriate for us to make these changes. So this retreat is not a test. So if you want to be on this team, put this obligation in your calendar. My commitment to you is I'll let you know the dates before 2024 starts. So you guys will already know when the retreat is if you plan to be on this team. As you guys already know, we're a top program in the nation. Last year we did $3.4 million. Obviously, we're 7 divisions, but we still did $3.4 million, which is huge. There's not many teams that are accomplishing that right now. We will continue to compete and eventually beat some of these top teams because we have a very large landmass and we have a much bigger manpower than anyone else in the nation. So just as a reminder, y'all are the best of the best. I hope you guys know that. You guys are the most committed and respectable team members on our team, or maybe some of you that are not on our team normally. There are people higher in sales on the team that didn't want to travel here, or maybe they just aren't a team player. Whatever the reason may be. But the reason why you guys were handpicked by myself and the DVMs is because we really see that you guys are team players. Obviously you guys your sales numbers are huge. So it's like, this is the team that we wanted to be in the room because this is the team that's going to help us grow, Wisconsin to 500,000, Missouri, 200,000 and more. So, just to go through some past stats here, just so you guys know where we have come from. So with Missouri, I went back, the furthest that we could go back. We've been at the fair a little longer than these years, but the furthest it would go back for Missouri was 2012. Jerry, you were there, weren't you?
So 2010, Christina did it. We did like 10 or 11,000 that year.
Okay, awesome. So 2012. So it was probably before Ventilators was tracking all this, but in 2012, Missouri did 17,000. In 2013, 21,000. 2014, 22K. 2015, 21K, so stayed consistent. 2016, 25K. 2017, 48K. 2018, 62,000. 2019, 74,000. And then, 2020, nothing, right? 2021, 84,000. And then last year we did 115,000. So grew by 30,000 and having the same booth that we typically have had. So we had a tremendous amount of growth due to Jerry really crushing it, crushing her numbers, and, Caden and Kevin and Pat and a bunch of new people coming in to work in Missouri for the first time, which is exciting. So, just over those years, we've sold over $500,000 at Missouri. And the crazy thing is the average order, it just continues to get higher. So it started at 193 in 2012, and last year was 552. So it's like, it was a $17,000 show, now it's 115. And I really think with adding the extra booth, we can do 150, 200K this year. Wisconsin, furthest back I could find is 2010. We did $36. So, I don't know what that was, but
remember
$36, one order.
Trimmer free cut board.
Yeah, I hope the service calls are great. 2011, we did 44,000. 2012, 40K. 2013, 46K. And this is only like 10 years ago, 46,000. It's nuts. 2014, 55K. 2015, 77K. 2016, 107K. 2017, we did 207. That's when we added our second indoor booth. And then we added another outdoor booth, stayed pretty consistent at 213K in 2018. 2019, we did 222K. 2020, nothing. 2021, we sold 271,000. And then last year we added 2 extra booths a week before the fair started, and we grew to 342K. So from 36 bucks, really 44K, I guess you could say is the first year, to 342,000. So we've done 1.6 million in the last, 12 years at Wisconsin. So, having a fair that did 342K, it's like, a lot of the people on the team, our averages were a little lower than, what we would typically like to see. And that's why we handpicked a lot of you people. I mean, as you guys notice, there's people in the room that are like top reps in the entire company. We've got people like Curtis, we've got Matt Foss, we've got Calvin, Phillip. We've got a lot of people in the room that, typically are not here for Wisconsin. So just so you guys know, if you guys already don't know everybody that's on the team, because some of you maybe weren't up till 2 a.m. throwing wood on that fire, but we have a lot of people in the room that have sold a lot of Cutco. So we've got Curtis. If you guys don't know who Curtis is, you must live under a rock. But are you over 11 now? Almost. Okay, cool. So nearly over $11 million in career sales. Sure. We've got Jerry, who's over $4 million. Tara and Matt Foss, both over $3 million. Fonz, Calvin, myself, Vernon, Sam, all over $2 million in career sales. Sarah, Kevin Marr, Josh Gort, Emily Schmick, Lucky, Philip Tice, and Matt Tucknott are all over $1 million. So we have a lot of people over $1 million, like a lot of Hall of Fame reps in here. And then we got Caden over $500,000, and the rest of you guys are not quite over $500,000 yet, but getting there, right? But the thing that is mind-blowing about this team, so there's 21 people in the room. The career sales, it like gives me chills. We're at $43 million. There's $43 million of CPO. And for the year, this is even more insane. If we were all in the same office, the office would be over $3 million right now for this year alone. It's nuts. So there's a lot of talent just sitting in the room. So, and it's not just Curtis. Curtis is at, 600K, but, that's a sixth of it. Yeah, for sure. Low key 600, right? But yeah, so my vision for this state fair is, for Wisconsin and Missouri, I see us, doing over 500,000. That's really the goal for this year is 500,000. And to have that amount of growth is going to take a tremendous effort. But I really think this room can do that at Wisconsin and Missouri, growing to 200,000, especially on that second booth to the fair. So, and that's just for this year. I do see a day where Wisconsin is doing over $1 million. Like, we're not that far from, $1 million fair. Like, I've been to Texas and Iowa, worked with all those guys. Texas is doing over 600K and their fair has the same amount of traffic that we have at Wisconsin. Like, the only thing that is different is they have reps that have better averages. That's it. So it's like, Wisconsin is going to be a massive fair. It will be one of the top fairs in the nation eventually. I think we can compete with Iowa eventually. They're a little slower to add booths to their fair, so you never know. So, and really for our events team too, for the people that work locally, like, the goal this year is $5 million, but 3 to 5 years from now, I could see us doing, over $10 million as a 7-divisional team. I can see us, I do see a day where we're doing over $20 million as an events team across 7 divisions. It will happen eventually, whether it's through price increases or skill set or, more reps, it's going to happen. Right. And, just know that, if you want to be a part of this team, this is going to be the core people that get us to those numbers. And this is the new, first annual retreat, but this is the program that's going to help our team grow to, tremendous numbers whether it's $1 million at Wisconsin or 5 million or 10 million or 20 million as an events team, this is the group of people that's going to get us there. But go ahead and kick us off here. I'm going to leave it open to a little Q&A here. So actually, if the event managers want to come up too, if you guys have any questions about anything, I'm going to cover a little more policy a little later today. Lucky and Kane, if you want to come up here. If you guys have any questions about anything that we are currently doing, whether it's a policy or anything, I mean, the policies that I'm going to be going over specifically for the fair, but if you have any questions about policy or, the state fair or anything, we're happy to take any questions before we bring up our first speaker. So do you guys have any questions for us? Abs, go for it.
I have no idea how the situation is going with some of the kids. Or anything they might supposed to bring down. Or...
Yep. Yeah. I'll explain that a little later today. So yeah, I'll handle that for sure. Cool. Besides setup, does anyone else have any other questions about anything or any concerns, anything at all for me, Lucky, or Caden, anything? No questions.
In the past, I know that there's always some type of holdup with people bringing knives in unless we already bring them in before the fair starts.
Yep.
There a way, or are we going to try to have everybody bring them in before the fair starts?
Yeah, so I'll explain how to deal with security, especially for the people that haven't been to our fair before. Security is very tight, so got to be strategic about it. I'll explain that later today when I'm explaining setup and stuff too.
Okay.
So, any other questions?
Are you going to cover it's not policy, but marketing standards or?
All I'm going to say later is we do have, if you want to do postcards, they're recommended but not required. So we do recommend you do some sort of marketing. Even if you only have a couple of Wisconsin customers, I do postcards through Vast Action. If you want to do that, jump on board, just email Vast Action, be like, oh, I want to do the same, postcard that Snider's doing. And, we'll get a bulk discount, which is great. But but we don't currently have any marketing standards for State Fair, but we highly recommend that you do email, text, and postcard. So, but we will not enforce it, but it is strongly recommended for sure. So, any other questions?
Question for you: do you do the service event deal after or attached to or around the fairs?
I am going. I know Josh has been asking me for service call schedule. Yeah, it's been a busy month. So I will. I'm gonna have a schedule. I'll email it to you guys like today or tomorrow of what we're gonna the different days. So usually we do a couple after the fair, like a couple days right after the fair. If you want to do it during the fair, you can. You'll probably be doing it by yourself, but unless somebody else is able to. But usually we do a couple days right after the fair, and then there's some people that go to another event right after Wisconsin. So we usually do one at the end of the month, and then a couple in September as well. So and it's usually West Dallas, Brookfield, Grafton are kind of the areas we usually go to. So yeah.
Not a question, more an announcement. If you're going to want lodging, sharing lodging, just shoot me a text.
Oh god! Oh no!
Oh
no! No comment.
If you're going to want lodging and you want to maybe an Airbnb or something, shoot me a text and maybe start looking, how many people we want.
Actually, real quick, who is interested in the Airbnb? Go ahead and raise your hand.
That's my rep number. You don't even know my rep number.
Okay.
Put me down as a customer.
Okay.
Stalker.
Hey, if you're a coordinator, you can look at anything.
Okay, so this is who I have. I have Vern, Pat, Foss, Calvin, Tuck, Tice, Curtis, Tara, Sam. Anyone else? Sweet. Are you in that or no?
No, I got my lodging.
Cool. So yeah, Brendan and I will figure that out. Awesome. Any other questions? Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and bring up our first speaker here. So we have Curtis Jaques. Doesn't even need an intro here, but like I said, if you don't know Curtis, you're living under a rock. Curtis is from the Rocky Mountain Division and nearly over $11 million in career sales. This guy basically invented the family program. So I know many of you probably have heard his family program talk, but there's always nuggets you can get out of it. So Curtis, talking about family program and selling to every customer. Let's bring him up.
So I know that we have family program on here and selling to every person. We're going to start off with selling to every person first, and then we're going to go into family program. The reason why it's very important to do that is because we want to set the tone with the customer before we just dive into family program. Because sometimes family program is that add-on that we use, or the family program can be that drop-down situation, which we're going to go over that. And then the family program could be the excuse for the customer to buy. Does that make sense? So first thing I'm going to do is we're going to go over getting customers to buy all the time. There's a couple key things, and some of you guys that were on Texas State Fair call will probably hear a couple of these topics come back up because it's very important. But the one thing is that you guys are going to be at a show that is high traffic and it's fast paced. Okay. So if we know that, naturally what we do is we speed up as well, right? And speeding up can also be the failure to why you're not closing every order and you're not getting the order count or the amount of orders that you wanted to, right? We also have to remember too that we're at a show. So that means we have to be very good at getting to the point quickly. Okay. And there are some people that are long-winded and they take their time. And then you're sitting here going, you're not listening to the customer. The customer's not listening back. Right. And then next thing you know, you guys are losing customers. Right. The big thing is that we don't want to lose customers, and we want to keep our customers there, focused, and precision on what we're doing. Right. There's a reason why we're at the state fair. It's the biggest and best sales going on during the year. People come out to these shows just to get those deals or buy those things that they normally wouldn't buy. And if they've been to the fair year after year after year, they might have seen Cutco year after year after year. And now it's your turn to close them and make sure that they buy, right? So what I tell people is don't speed up, slow down your approach, okay? And when I mean slow down is because if you slow down and you cut the fluff out of your approach, your customers are going to be on. And I always tell people when you're at a fast-paced show like the state fair, customers, when they come up to the booth, they want you to take them out of that element. Okay. Their mind is just like racing. And then once they come up to the booth, it's like, okay, wow me, take over, like slow things down. Let me forget about the fast pace and everything crazy going on around me. Right. Have you ever noticed that sometimes you get customers to the booth and you're like, okay, why are you still here? Right. And that's just because we create an atmosphere that takes them away from the craziness. Okay. So by knowing that and slowing down our approach means we're going to close faster. Okay. And we're going to close more effective, right? Where customers are going to buy more often, right? If you're that rep that's like, yeah, and this is it, and this is that, that's our demo, blah, 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 blah. What do you think? How much? Oh, and then you attack them. Why aren't you buying? What's going on? That customer's going, I can't grasp what you're saying. I don't know what's going on. This is just ridiculous. And then off they go. And then they'll run into the other Cutco booth and then they'll try it again, right? So just have that in the back of your mind when you're doing it. So I put here, slow down your approach, take your time with them, know the value spots, okay? Know the value spots of Cutco, okay? Customers pick up on the value by slowing down, and then you let silence be golden during those times. Yeah, we're 100% American made. We hope that you like American made things too. Pause. Customers like, oh yeah, we love American paints. Great. Well, you're going to absolutely love our product, right? That reassurance, and then it's on to the next thing. Just so you know, our knives stay sharp on average 7 to 10 years. Now, yes, every knife in the world goes dull. We know that. That's why we have a guarantee. Stop, pause, let them react, and then move to the next value add, right? So it's very important that when you're doing your demo, you slow it down, wait for those pauses, wait for those reactions, those nonverbal cues, and then that's where you can direct that customer better, right? If that customer is in that fast pace, how much is it? How much is it? How much is it? Don't just go, it's 129, right? Don't be that rep. You have to slow it down and go, well, do you know anything about our product? Right? And then the customer's like, well, no. And it's like, okay, well, I don't want to sticker price you, because if I just tell you that it's $129 and they're like, $129, like, that's the reaction that I was going to get. So let me tell you a little bit about who we are and what we're doing. That way, you know a little bit about our products, so that when I tell you a price, it's amazing, right? So slow that down. Okay. So, and all of this is just going to help you, because when we get to the family program is my crutch, or my, basically one of the reasons why I sell so much is because I use the family program to introduce the sets to the customer. Okay. Now, some of you guys are on we're starting for the Cutco Kitchen, and then we're going to do our package deals, and you can still do that by using the Cutco Kitchen, right, brochure, or you can use it by using the family program. Now, we got to remember, we're at a state fair. We have all different walks of life that are sitting in front of us, right? We have people that are on a beer budget, but think that they're on a wine budget, right? And then we have vice versa. We have the people that are acting like they have a wine budget, but they can't afford it, right? So the thing is that we don't want to avoid those customers. Those customers are going to be sometimes our best customers. And the reason why is because once they get Cutco in their hands, then it's like, okay, it's a done deal. Like, I got to keep going back to these people, and then it becomes an addiction. And then they're the ones that 20 years later, you're still going, yeah, would you like another 2-piece? Yeah, sure. And you're like, you just spent $5,000 over the last 10 years. This is amazing, right? We like those customers, so we can't get rid of them. Okay. And the reason why I use the brochure, the family set brochure, is because, one, they see that it says family sets on it, right? So if there's someone that's thinking 2, 3, 4 sets, they're going to notice the brochure right away, and then they're going to let you know, oh, what's the family program? Oh, I'll talk about that later. This is just showing you the 5 major sets that we sell here at the shop. Now, the reason why I do that is because I'm going to know right away where that customer lies when it comes to price point. And I tell people all the time, most of the people that come up to our booth are price. Okay, if you get a value shopper, that's the person that's buying 3, 4, 5, 7 Cutco Kitchen, right? And once you get one of those people, you'll know, because you'll just mention a couple things like you were talking about last night, and then they're like, ooh, wow, oh, maybe I think I'm going to do that. I think, and then they're on board, and you're like, okay, they're just totally value people, right? They don't ask price. They just are like, this is something I can see. This is something I want, right? So if you know that they're priced and you use the family brochure, it's easy for you to go over those 5 sets. And you're going to see right away, we have the Bare Essential set, which is the showstopper, right? We have our starter set, our basic, our family, which is our most popular, or our complete set known as the carnivore set, right? If you were looking for a set, are you someone just basic, starter, right? Are you more of a carnivore that you love to eat meat and you have to have all the best meat knives? And then the customer will tell you. And it's funny because at state fairs, a lot of times people were working next to me and they're like, the first thing you showed them was a showstopper. And I'm like, they told me based off of that picture, what price range they know that they can afford, right? And most of the time, if they pick the showstopper, it's easy to get them a 4-pack of table knives, and then they want the shears, and next thing you know, they're spending $700, $800. And then you're sitting here going, well, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't just show you the starter set. You're literally right there, and it's just a couple $100 more, and you get twice as many pieces. And the customer's like, oh, okay, yeah, that sounds better. It's only $200 today. Cool, let's do that, right? So just have that in the back of your mind so that you guys will know how and why I close so many more orders, is because I give the customer options, okay? If you start off with a Cutco Kitchen, you are giving them options. I'm not saying that you're not, but let them know that we have packages and programs, and you can buy sets individually as well, right? So if you're here at the booth today, are you looking for more of like the kitchen? Are you thinking like a package deal like knives and flatware, knives and cookware? Or are you someone that's just focused on knives? And if they say just knives, okay, great. Let me show you our 5 most popular sets. Take that family brochure out, show them, right? It's an easy way for you to drop down instead of just immediately thinking that everybody's going to buy a package deal, okay? The object of Cutco is that we want them to buy package deals. I'm not saying that I don't sell package deals, but you got to remember when they walk by the booth, the first thing they notice is knives, and it's Cutco cutlery, right? It's not Cutco pans, Cutco flatware. It's Cutco cutlery, right? And most people that know Cutco know that we're a knife company first. And this is what goes into my talk, because I tell this all the time, is that if you are a person that is trying to upsell a customer, your first upsell should be knives, or it should be something that has knives with it, okay? A lot of times people are like, oh, I'm going to try the cookware. I'm going to try the flatware. And I'm like, rein that back. We're a knife company first. So the first thing that you should be doing is doing the family program, right? And when we go into family program, this ties in with you at the end of your close, when they say yes to the homemaker or whatever they're buying, the thing is, you go, is that the only one that you need? And then they're going to look at you and they go, well, yeah. And you go, oh, well, the reason why I asked is because a lot of our customers are buying for their secondary home, their campers, their RVs. And we have a new program that allows you to buy multiple sets to get bigger discounts. And this should be something that you guys are doing with every single person that you're selling. It shouldn't be, oh, can I show you our cookware and our flatware? The first thing that you should do is when they say yes to the set is literally tell them, is that the only one that you need? And then they're like, they start questioning, well, why is he asking me that? And then that's when you have that silence. They'll go, yeah, we only need one. Okay, no problem. The reason why I ask is a lot of people are buying for their secondary home, camper, RVs, and or family members. And we have a way for you to get Cutco cheaper if you buy multiple sets. And this is like where at the Texas State Fair, I'm sitting there, I'm selling this lady a signature set. And then next thing you know, she's like, oh, really? You have a family program? Well, what if I got one for my daughter and my son? And then I'm selling her 3 signature sets. And then next thing you know, her friend comes up and goes, oh, they have a family program? She's like, yeah, I'm getting 3 sets for my kids and me. And this is amazing. And then next thing you know, she buys 2 sets. So I sell 5 signature sets on 2 people, right? And that's just all because the family program, right? And having that connection at the end where it's like, hey, is this something that you want? Okay. Family program should always be your first upsell. Okay. And I always tell people upsell should be something that's already programmed and ready to go, no matter what you're selling. Let's say it's a past customer. Okay. We were just talking about a new customer. Past customers, when you get to the end of it, that's when you start asking them about family members, right? Are you the only one in your family that has Cutco? Pause, let them answer. No, my aunt, my sister, da, 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 da. Oh, so you're a Cutco family. And they're like, yes, we all own Cutco. Nice. So do you have children? Yes. Oh, well, have you bought for your children yet? And then they're going, well, no, they can buy it on their own. Oh, well, I just want to let you know, Cutco has changed some of their programs. And one of the programs that we've changed is our family program. It's our friends and family. So if you've ever thought about giving to your children, or you might give it to your children, right here at the State Fair is the perfect time for you to buy it, because this new program allows you to get Cutco at a ridiculous price right now. See how I used State Fair, new program. This is your chance right now to get a ridiculous deal. Because then you have customers that are sitting like, yeah, Christmas is right around the corner, right? And if they're not thinking Christmas around the corner, why aren't you saying that? Remember, the holidays are right around the corner. So you already say, hey, we have this family program. This is the chance to get it at a great deal. Pause. If they don't say anything, then you go, just so you know, the holidays are coming up. And then that customer's like, this is awesome, right? Then you get that past customer. See the difference when you bring it up? But my immediate close is always a family program. Once they commit something, it's right into family program. Most of the time, what are we doing? We're not thinking family program at all. right? We're thinking, oh, does she want cookware? Does she want flatware? We are now prone to be a kitchen company. So people are like, oh, well, we sell cookware and flatware, da, 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 da. Well, if they're already a past customer and they're already buying Cutco, they already know the value of the knives. Why wouldn't you ask them to buy more knives for their family members? That's an easy, just do it kind of situation, right? And we all know that when it comes to cookware and flatware, you have to have the right person to get them to buy flatware or cookware. Not every single customer that's a past customer wants our cookware or wants our flatware, right? And we have to put that through our thick heads because now we're taught, oh, show everyone packages, programs, everything. And we get into this machine mentality where we're doing that and we're not listening to our customers. We're not providing the value that we need. And we forget that we're a knife company first, right? So if anyone watching me at the booth, they'll go, wait, he started off family program, and then the next thing he went into was business gifts. And the reason why I do that with past customers or with new customers is because we're a knife company. If we can sell them on a knife set, it's easy to sell them business gifts as well. Then it's, oh, you need cookware. Oh, you need flatware, right? So just have that in the back of your mind when you're doing it. Now, we talked about earlier with the family program can also be the excuse, but it also can be your drop-down mechanism, okay? There is a lot of talk from people that are selling full retail value, right? And then there's people that give a discount. And the full retail value reps are sitting here going, I'm having a hard time because once I give out that full retail value, and then the customer kind of gives me that kickback, the thing that I initially want to do is drop the price. And then us that already, the people that give discounts are like, you can't do that because now the customer doesn't trust you. Okay. The moment you go, oh, well, let me see if I can get you a better price on that package. Right. Then the customer's like, why didn't you do that in the first place? Right. So I encourage those people that are full retail value to use the family program brochure as a drop down mechanism. Okay. If you are a person that's giving a discount, it's still effective the same way. And I've seen this many times where reps are like caught up in that full retail value and the customer's like, yeah, it's a really good deal. We really want it. But, you know, we got to think about it. And then what do? They let that $3,000 order leave, right? And the thing is, I will be very upset that I let someone like that walk away, right? Because 2,000 CPO, 2,500 CPO, 2,800 CPO is better than that 3,200 CPO just let walk, right? So don't let your pride get in the way because you're trying to sell something full retail value and be like, I sold an Ultimate at full price. I gave him 2 gadgets. Ah, great. You sold 1. I've sold 5, right? You're still at $3,000. I'm at 15 or 20 grand. Let's talk, right? And then they're like, oh shit, is this how he sells more than me? Yeah, because I don't care what the CPO is. I care that the person bought it, right? So with family program, use it as a drop down, right? Hey, are you guys buying this for you or is this for a family member? Oh, it's primarily for us. Oh, no, it's for you. It's for a family member, right? And then like, what are you talking about? Well, see, Cutco has this new program called the Family Program. And I know you really like that Ultimate set. So if I show you what the set would cost on the Family Program, you just have to make sure that if Cutco reaches out to you, you bought it for your daughter or a second home or something like that, because then I can give you a discount on that set. Then the customer's like, what? And then you bring out the brochure that says family program and they're like, oh shit, this is legitimately a thing. I'm so glad that he thought about that to get around that pricing, right? That they're not happy about, right? So instead of you, can I see if I can wiggle around it? Oh, hey, is this for a family member? And then they're like, no. Yeah, just say it is, because we have this new program where I can get you that set a little bit cheaper, but we have to use this program. Is that cool? And they're like, yeah, sure, that's cool. Show me that program, right? It builds value in you rather than tear you down. Does that make sense? The customer's going to trust you because you're like, oh shit, I forgot. We could do this thing and that'll help this person out. And then you can get your set, right? Make sure you're doing that if you're a full retail value person, okay? Now, if you're not a full retail value, it's still a great thing to pull up when you're giving that set at a price, right? And maybe it's like $150 off full retail value. And you're just like, hey, wait, they're not biting out of this. Maybe if I throw out the family program and get them a discount, then they'll bite at it, right? Now we know B block pricing is not the way to go. I do not sell B block pricing anything, period, of Cutco. Most people just think that I'm discount, like I give out discounts crazy. And the thing is, there's a happy medium. Okay. We will drop to that happy medium and we'll be fine with that happy medium. I'm okay with 987 CPO on every homemaker that I sell. Okay. That's almost 1,000 CPO every time someone walks up to the booth. I'll take that over the 1,200 or the 1,400, right? It adds up quickly. Okay. Plus I have a lot of customers that then believe and trust me, so that if I send them out like a purple thing that we're doing now, they don't even ask for it, because they're like, he hooked me up so good the first time. I don't care what it costs. I just want it. Right. That's what makes our job easier, because then we can sell full retail value afterwards, because once they're your customer, they don't care, because they've used the product, they love the product, they know the value of the product. So then price no longer becomes the issue. Get what I'm saying? But the thing is that if you're using the family program to get that extra little discount in there, just know that once you give them that price, that's the price. Because if you budge from that price, then all trust is gone again, right? So I would encourage you use the family program to do a drop down, but once you give that drop down price, that is the price. Okay, so know your happy mediums. That's why on my iPad, I have all of my stuff set up in my bundles, where I can easily click a button that will tell me exactly where the family program is, right? So I have my discount in there for just regular discount, and then I have the family program discount. Now, you're going to also get customers that are going to be like, well, what if we both buy? My immediate reaction is you each get $50 off a set, depending on if I already gave them a discount or if it's full retail value. Hey, you get $100 off each set if you buy it now. And then they're like, cool. So what if we buy 3 sets? You get $150 off, right? What if we buy 4? Well, you get $175 off. It's not as big of a jump. And then if like, well, what if we buy 10? Okay, well, we'll give you $200 per set. And then the customer's like, oh, okay. Just know your margins. Don't be that rep that just, oh, you want 2 sets? I'll give them to you both at rock bottom price. Because you do that, you're going to screw yourself on the family program, because they're going to go, okay, well, if it's only that for those 2, how much is it for 4? It's the same price. Why didn't it go down? Well, our savings is at 2. Doesn't make sense, right? So have that in the back of your mind when you're working that too. Now, the last thing that I have here with family program is that it's an excuse to buy. Okay. Family program is an excuse for them to purchase every single time, right? And what that is that if a customer is sitting there and they're looking at Cutco and they're not ready for it, or they're not expecting to buy it, then what we do is we go, hey, we just want you to become one of our family members. That's why we have this family program, because once you become one of our family members, we can always upgrade you later, and you can actually save more money by doing that. Okay. Now, I know a lot of people in this room are like, what is he talking about? Okay. So that's why we're going to go over excuse. If we have a customer that's looking at a set, and let's say that set is out of their price range, right? And we want to drop down. One of the most effective ways to drop down is to tell them, if you become a family member and you go to one of our smaller sets, you will save more in the long run, because what are they doing? They're buying the set there. And then when you upgrade them later, all they're missing is those few pieces. So it actually costs them less later. So talking about those people that are wanting an ultimate set but can't afford the ultimate set, what do? We go down to the signature or the homemaker, right? So you can either do a build a set program, which I tell you don't do that, okay? Because that's just long-winded. That's a lot of fluff. That's just crap that you don't want to say to the customer. Customer doesn't need to know that, right? What you need to do is you need to highly suggest to the customer that the best set option for them now, okay? And this is what you say to them. I highly suggest that the best set offer that you should get here today is blank.
Can you repeat that, please?
The best the best offer or the best discount I suggest for you is to get this blank set today, right? And the reason why we say that at the end of it is because my professional thing is that you should buy this set here today instead of that one. And here's the reason why, right? Because we're literally going to tell them the reason why. Because we have this new program called the Family Program that allows you, if you buy this set here, which we know you're going to love and have, and it has all of our customer recommended pieces, right? Then what we can do is that we can upgrade you later. So once you love this, have it for a year, come back next year. All we do is get you the block and the missing pieces, and you'll actually save more by doing the upgrade program later than buying the full set now. And we all know that because the ultimate set is at a set price. And when they come back and they buy those individual pieces, right? Those individual pieces we can give a discount on, and we can make it cheaper than what it was when they first were looking at that set. If you do that as an excuse, use the Family Program as an excuse to drop down, you're going to get way more customers that are going to go, oh, I like this. I really like this. Like, he's not talking us into the set that we want. He's talking into a set that we know we need, right? And then we will get what we want later. And customers like that you're selling them off of buying the set that they were looking at that was too expensive, and you found an option that's cheaper and still allowing them to get the bigger set later. I don't know if any of you guys have done that, but when you do that correctly, customers are just like, okay, I'm yours forever. Like, I just love that you're not trying to push me into something that I'm uncomfortable with right now, right? Now, we do get those customers like, yeah, but if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it all at once. Okay. And we've heard that. And the reason why they say that to you is because you didn't give them the excuse to not get what they want, right? Because there's no way that they're going to say that to you if they know that they can upgrade later or get what they want later. It's just, you put a little down now, and then when you're ready for the rest of it, we can send you the rest of it, right? It's kind of like the 10 pay, but you don't have to explain the 10 pay. How many of you guys are explaining 10 pays to people? Okay, good. I'm glad this room is not doing that, because I was just on a conference call on the West Coast and they do 10 pays like crazy. And I'm just like, it's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of everything just to get an order. And it's a promise order. And we all know what promise orders mean. It's not an order. Okay. So have that in the back of your mind when you guys are doing that. So 3 ways to use the Family Program and use it effectively. Now, to close every single one of those is take the credit card first on the first yes, then go into upgrade or upselling, and then go from there. I've seen it so many times where someone closes a homemaker set and then they start talking about the Family Program. And the next thing you know, the customer's like, yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe I should wait. Maybe I should ask my husband. Maybe I should just give me a few minutes. Oh, no. Let's finish this set first. Then you can talk to your husband. And if you come back and you want to add those sets on, then we can just add them on at the discount price. And the customer's like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do that. Okay, well, we got to make sure you get your set and I first. Okay, I hate when customers are like, oh, well, and then they're like, well, and then they walk off and you're like, you idiot. Like, have them fill out all the information on the iPad first, get their credit card, and then start upselling them. Okay, very important that there's those key things that you happen, especially at the events that we're going to be at, because they are fast paced. Okay. The other thing that I have here is body language, nonverbal cues. Okay. One thing that I'm really good at is the positioning of where customers are and how they react to what I'm saying. So I have here, look at them straight in the eyes when you're explaining everything to them. Because if you look at them straight in the eye, you can tell exactly what they're doing or what they're thinking or where they're at. Okay. If the customer looks down, that's fine. You keep your eyes still on them, because they're going to tell you by their mannerisms and how they react to things where they are at that moment. Okay. When I flip open the brochure, the family brochure, first thing I do is I flip it open and I'm looking at them to see which set that their eye goes to first. Then it tells me, okay, are they in the cheap rent district or are they over here in the high end district, right? And we all know, because when we flip that open, their eyes immediately go towards one set or one section of the page, right? And if I know that they're looking over here in the homemaker galley, that page, that's when I ramp up the excitement for those sets there. Now, if they're over on the other side, well, I don't have to ramp it up. They're already excited because it's a big ass set and they're like, oh, look what I get. Oh, that's great. Right? So have that, watch that, pay attention to that. Most of the reps that I work with at shows always ask me, what can I get better at? And I always tell them eye contact and listening. Because I watch them and they look down the whole time, or they're pointing at things, and when they point, they look too. You should never be looking at something because your booth layout should be the same that it's been for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. You should never have to look where you're pointing because your same setup is the same setup you've had for however many years. Your mind already knows what you're pointing at. You don't have to look down at it. You should be looking at the customer when you're going over it. This right here is our basic set. In the basic set has this, 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 this. Customer's looking down. You're reading everything that's happening with that customer at that moment. You point to the specialist sweater and they're like, you see that squinting of the eye, like, the hell is that? You know right there, they don't like that piece. So you might have to customize it. Or that's where you go, oh, and this piece is our customer favorite. I know it's probably that piece you're going, what the hell is that? And I would never use it. I'm already calling them out on it before they even have to say anything. And then I'll be like, but it's actually amazing. You can cut, you can slice, you can scoop. This thing is fantastic. And then the customer's like, oh, I didn't think about that. Right? So I already know what to sell them on. If they look at the pirate knife and they're like, the hell is that machete knife? You know, you can tell by when you point at it, how they react on their face and how their body moves based off of what you're showing them. Okay? And you'll go, like the chef knife, you point at the chef knife and they go, oh, nice. You know that they are specifically looking for a chef knife. So if you can pay attention to those cues, it makes your selling faster by slowing down everything. Now, last thing I have in here before I finish, and then we can go to Q&A or whatever, is that when you're watching body language and you're doing your cues, what you need to do is you need to shut up, listen, and then I put in here, make your pitches shorter. So when you're doing the family program, make the family program pitch super short, super simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Okay. And what I'm saying by that is that some of you, when you go into your cookware and your flatware, I'm just sitting here like, oh my God, like 30 minutes later, you're still talking about how the vapor seal and the bullshit that happens to vapor. Right. And I'm like, shut up. It's either, do you want the professional grade pans or not? Yeah. You want them? Okay, great. Do you want me to tell you about them or do you just want to buy them? Oh, you just want to buy them? Great. I'm shutting it up. Give me your credit card. Right. Most of you guys are like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what in the hell is going on over there? That's fine. I'm going to sell 5 other people while you're still doing that one pitch. Okay. So if you want to close more and faster, keep the pitch quick. This is our family program. This is what it does for you. Okay. That's it. That's the pitch. I know most of you guys are like, what? Yeah. If you buy multiple sets, you get a bigger discount. So you want it for you, your sister, your aunt, your brother, your mom, your second home, your cousin, your nephew, your secret lover. Okay. And I've done that. And people at Texas know, I say, do you have a secret house or secret lover that needs some? And they're like, yeah, I actually do. And I've had people buy ultimate sets this year at Houston Rodeo. This lady comes up with this guy and she's like, you're going to buy me this set. And he's like, yeah, I'm getting divorced to her. So I'm letting her buy what she wants because I don't want anything to do with her ass. And I was like, cool. So what do you want? She goes, I want the fucking big set. If he's divorcing my ass, I want the big one. And I was like, okay, cool. I was like, so is this your lover or is this your, and he goes, no, it's my fucking ex-wife. I'm ready to get rid of her. I was all like, oh, cool. And all I did was, are you looking for a set for you or for your lover or your secret lover? And then they laugh and they go, well, this bitch is getting rid of me. So he's going to buy me one. I was like, Glad I asked that question, right? So when you do your family program, it's okay to make them laugh about it too, right? Do you have a secret lover that you want to put it in their house too? And then they just look at you and they're like, what? I'm just joking with you. And they're like, okay, he's cool. Like, he's down to earth. He's a real person, right? Now, sometimes you get into the swinger conversation, you know, not just joking, but keep your pitches super sweet, super short and to the point, and you'll notice right away that you're going to have more customers talking about the sets that they want and the packages and program. Cool.
Yeah, we got some time for Q&A. Anyone have questions for Curtis?
Bonds.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. So one thing you said was obviously secure your credit card first before you start doing it. But can you give an example of kind of how that transition line comes into that you bring it up so that it's not like you got the credit card, you're talking, oh, by the way, we got a family set. I know that it's the
So is that with a debit card or a credit card?
What?
Are you paying with a debit card or a credit card?
Oh, credit card.
Credit card? Great. Awesome. Yeah. So let me get this put in here. So you guys did want the white handles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you want the dark handle or the dark block, right?
Yeah, that's
the cherry wood. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Now, quick question. Is this for your primary home or is this for a secondary or camper RV? Like, what primarily is this set for? Is this just your primary home?
Well, we only got one home, but
okay.
I didn't even think about that.
Well, the reason why I asked, and I have to ask you just because you're buying this set, a lot of our customers are actually coming up to the booth this year and the last couple of years to buy for their second home, their RVs, their campers, and they love giving the gift of Cutco as well. Like they have that mom that has terrible knives, or their aunt or their children are moving out or getting married, and they like to put an extra set in. And the reason why I say that to you is because we have this new program that's allowing customers to get ridiculous deals on Cutco. It's actually our family program. So I know that we could finish this out here, but if you ever thought about giving the gift to someone else or getting a second home for your second home, you know, RV or camper, let me know because I can totally show you this new program that everybody's buying here at the show. And then the customer's like, oh, well, what's that program? Or, oh yeah, I have thought about getting it. And then they're like, no, just that one set. Okay, no problem. Is there anything else that you would like to buy today before I close this? Because if you do pick out anything else, you can get even better deals.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
Does that kind of help you? And then we go right into it.
Do you have a secret lover?
Huh?
Do you have a secret lover?
No, I don't.
You'll never know.
He's not gonna tell you it's a secret.
I do. I do. It's my wife. No, I don't have secret love. But it's just fun when you say that because then the customer's sitting here like, what are you saying here? There's a lot of shit that happens at the show. And they believe you because they're like, yeah, it's a shit show here. You know what I mean? You guys probably see every walk of life. Oh, trust me, you have no idea some of the shit that happens at this booth.
It's like I can count on one hand how many teeth I've seen today.
Right. Well, it breaks down a barrier. The reason why I say that is because it breaks down a barrier, and then they're sitting here like, okay, it's a human there, it's not a robot. Like, and then they're just like, yeah, what's the craziest thing you've seen? So, and then you just tell them, oh, we all have 50 million random things that we can do.
If they're just looking for one gift set, like say they just call into the booth, hey, you know, I'm looking about a wedding gift for our daughter. What are you just giving them, like a show special, or are you doing like a family program kind of right away? Does it need to be multiple sets?
No, but that does trigger. So anytime someone says something, it immediately triggers something in my mind because how you said it or what you do. So if a customer comes up to the booth and they're like, yeah, our daughter's getting married, we're looking at getting her a gift set. Okay, well, can I tell you a little bit about this new program that Cutco has started? I know that you're looking for a gift set, but this is something I always show my customers because our customers end up doing it anyways because it's the most ridiculous thing that Cutco's ever done. And they're like, what's that? And I'm like, so we have this new friends and family program, and it looks like you're buying for a family member, right? And they're like, yeah, for my daughter. Great. Well, this right here is the 5 major sets that people have been picking out on the family program. And Cutco has discounted these so low that our customers are just like, that's the most ridiculous deal I've ever seen on Cutco. And they like looking at these sets. Now, if you still want just the gift set, we can definitely go over the price on that, but I just wanted to show you options here because like this set here, and then I show them the showstopper. This has the 5 major knives and it actually comes in a storage tray, and it's the best set that we have for our people that are just starting off. And when you see the price on it, it'll blow you away. Now, I'm one of those people that don't do full retail value on the thing. Okay, I don't charge it at like 500 or 600, whatever the hell people are selling it at. I just do it at the normal Cutco price on it, at the 429 or the 4 whatever it is, 440 or whatever the hell it is. I just push it in the button and it tells me, and I go, yeah, that's the price. And then when I do that, then the customer's like, okay. And then I'm like, so the gift set that you're looking at is what? And then they'll show me like the chef knife and the trimmer or something like that. And then I'll be like, okay, so you could either spend $260 on 2 knives, or for $140 more, you can get all 5 of them in a tray and be done. Plus, the cool thing is you're a past customer, which means you can split it up into 5 payments anyways. So you actually only pay $80 some today. So it's cheaper to buy the set today than it is if you bought that gift set. Right? So I don't talk about multiples. I immediately go into that person. And then if they're like, okay, cool, let's get one of those. Then I'm like, okay, is it the only child that you have? And they're like, no, I have 3 other. Well, just letting you know, if you buy it for 1, the other 2 are going to want it. So I can show you a better price by doing 3 or buying multiples. Or if you guys are just like, let's just do the 1 now and then we can get the others later, just know that we do have that family program available for you. So I'm planting the seed, and then I'm trying to water it really quickly, see if there's any other thing that comes out. If nothing else comes out, I'm like, cool, they have 2 other children that don't have it. And then I put it in the notes. And then next thing you know, we'll send out a thing at Christmas. It's like, hey, do you have any family members getting married in the spring? Blah, 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 blah. We have this family program. Don't forget it's here. Getting them prepped and primed so that when they come back to that show the next year, they're buying for the next child. Okay. So anytime a customer is buying for a child, the first thing you should do is 1, sell them that set that they're looking at, and then immediately ask, is that the only child you have? Because they all know that if 1 gets it, they're all going to want it. Okay. And I've had customers that I had one guy that bought 2 signature sets and a galley for the other child. He goes, yeah, that one, I don't think. And that kid that got the galley was pissed. Was I like, what am I, like a black sheep of the family? Like, what's going on? And I was so like, that's just what your dad thought that you needed. And he goes, that's just bullshit. I didn't get anything extra. I just got the small set of knives. We're like, well, let's talk to your dad. Right. And then dad ended up upgrading him to an ultimate. And then the other 2 children are like, what the fuck? Like, and then it's all like, well, you guys got the big set and he didn't have that. And next thing you know, it causes a problem, and let them know it causes a problem. Okay. I think it's very important that if they do have other children, let them know that it is going to cause a problem, because with sales, you cause a problem and then you fix the problem with a solution. And with Cutco, why not cause a problem with, oh, you have 3 children. You know that if you buy this one, the others are going to want one too. So just be prepared for when shit hits the fan that you have to buy 2 other sets. Right. And then the customer's like, okay, fine. How much it would be for 3? Yep. You could save it, put it in a cupboard. You know, Cutco doesn't have an expiration date. Because I had an Asian lady that did that. And only one of her kids, she bought 5 homemakers. Only one of them got married. And she still has them up saved because she's not giving to them until they get married. So
We got time for one more question.
Oh, did you want to go down?
Josh.
Mine's small too.
Mine's very finer. So you keep the 444 or whatever it is for the showstopper. And let's say they get 5, then how do you discount that? Like $20 off?
So what we'll do is we'll either CTR rep account, or what we will do is, if I have to, like, if they buy more than 5, then what I do is I start doing like 2 Santukos for free. And then the rest are petite carvers, you know, like the normal. And then I'll just break it up where I just give them the bigger knife to save them $150 or $120 on it. Yeah. So already you guys know that the showstopper, they automatically bonus the petite carver in that set. So if that is bonused already and we already have that and they buy 5, then what I'll do is I'll take it upon myself, just order 3 showstoppers the way that they are. and then break down two of them and then bonus Santuco knives.
Well, how do you present that? I guess that's my main question.
What do you mean present it? I'll just go, okay, so you want 5 of those. So we know the retail value is normally 600 times 5. So you're around $3,000. If we do it this way, you're looking at $1,584. So you're getting them right about half off. The customer's like, oh, cool, let's do it. So now if they go, well, how much would it be for 6 or 8? You just start giving them a bigger knife. I don't care about CPO. I just care that people are getting knives. And when people are buying that many showstoppers, that just means that I have that many more opportunities to upgrade later. Cool. Thanks.
Let's get a couple shares of some nuggets that you got out of that talk. So just raise your hand. We'll take a couple. Otherwise, I'll volunteer.
First upserve should always be something with knives included. The concept.
Knives or knives.
Do what?
Yeah,
Knives or knives included.
Yeah.
pretty much. I was just gonna say, pretty much the fact that you don't try sell all the sets right away. You get a yes on the ones that they want, and then you build it from there. And I think there's a lot of times where I was all.
Awesome. Yeah.
Slowing down the approach, cut out the fluff, and just bring the customer into your world and take them out of the craziness.
Yeah, for sure.
Keep it simple. And the one line I like, is that the only one you need?
Yeah, that was a fire question. Yeah, go for it.
Thank you, Curtis. I thought it was all great, but something new to me was using the family program with the drop down and kind of using it to your advantage where they're not like working you for a deal. You're like, hey, I'm helping you out by doing this. Wink, wink, it's not for you.
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely a big nugget for me.
Making sure to be looking the customer possibly.
Yeah. Oh, you guys raise hands.
Watch very carefully where people's eyes go. Give a trustworthy reason for a drop down. And once you drop the price, that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's, I second that.
Yeah,
Watching their reaction.
for sure.
It's going on.
You're like, don't do a runaway train on pricing.
Yeah.
Just go with that. And don't do that.
Yep. Yeah, so appreciate it, Curtis. Yeah, that was absolute fire. We got next, we got Vernon, very own Vernon coming up. So Vern, for those of you that don't know him, he is from Appleton area, Northwoods Division, definitely a leader on our team locally for our 7 Division team. And Vern is definitely a beast at selling to past customers. If you know his past customers because they're always like looking for him. It's like, oh, where's Vernon? It's like, oh yeah, I guess he's not at this show, but hey, don't worry, I'll sell to you and I'll help out Vern. It's like, no, we got to see Vern. So Vern, he sold over 500,000 last year. Crushes it at the booth. He was the #1 rep on our team actually for traditional events last year. So Vern, come on up. He's speaking about past customers.
Okay. Hey Curtis, random question. Why do you ask, is this the only set that you need versus is this the only set that you would want?
So needs are things that they've thought of, wants are what they're gonna get. So if I says it's the only set that you need, right? They're gonna go yes or no. And if they say yes, that's the only one that you need, then that doesn't mean that their want doesn't want. Does that make sense?
I think so.
There's a whole thing about being want.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't understand those words. And if a customer says, I want, that means they've already made up their mind and it's sold. So if they go, well, we need a good set of knives. Okay, that means that they have told themselves that they need it, but they're not yet there where they want it. Right? So our job is to turn a need into a want. Now, if someone walks up and goes, well, I want a good chef knife. They're telling you they already want one. So just tell them, here's our 5. Do you want the 5 set or do you just want the one individual? And then like, I just want that one. Great. Give me your credit card, let me send it right up to you. So it's very important that you pay attention to the need and wants. This customer will tell you right away. So at the end, I was like, is that the only set that you need? They're like, well, why are you asking me that? Because they're like, my need is telling me say yes, but now you're questioning my need. Is it actually a yes or a no? And then you'll go, well, because if you want a second one for this home, that home, this, or we have a discount that'll allow you to get a better price. And that's what we want. And they'll tell you, well, we just want the one. Or they'll go, yeah, maybe we want one for our second home. You'll hear them go, maybe, honey, we do need one for our second home. Can I show you a price just so you can see what you want? And, okay, sure.
So it's the hook. That's the hook to get to the family program, introducing as an excuse, right?
That or an excuse to show them one.
Thank you. Sorry, Nick, I'm too tall for your laptop. What do you want me to? Do you got something to put it on?
I think it's this.
Oh, perfect. There you go.
Move back. Yeah, you can move. The camera's not on this laptop. Okay. That's just
Oh, I see.
I
see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I'm really excited to talk to all of you guys. You know, it's definitely an honor and just humbling to speak in front of ballers like this. So I'm really excited. So yeah, there are a lot of customers at the state fairs. So it's just highly saturated in both Wisconsin for sure, especially in the Milwaukee area, and I'm sure Missouri, because you know we've been in both areas forever, right? So if your past customer game isn't strong, you definitely want to make it a focus over these next couple of months, because it's inevitable that you're going to run into them, right? So you need to be ready. The next thing I would say, when Curtis and I did service events together, and he saw my first one, one of the first things he told me was, you have no structure. You're just all over the place. And I'm like, all right. And then I made structure for the next one and it went way better, right? So just what's your structure and what's your game plan when you're talking with customers behind the booth? Do you have a plan? You know how to take them from A to Z. And that's no matter if you're behind the booth, you're at a service event, service call, you're making phone calls, selling over the phone. What is your plan? What is your structure? Because it doesn't matter like how long you've been, you know, out of the booth or doing a service event. If you have that structure in place, that'll always guide you. A powerful lesson I learned from Brandon is when I would ask him, how do you come up with these great lines that you have for handling objections? And he says that he just puts himself in the customer's shoes. And he does this exercise where he just goes back and forth between being the rep and being the customer. And he basically asks himself, like, okay, if I'm like this customer and this is my experience and this is my situation, what would I need to hear and feel to comfortably and confidently pull the trigger on hundreds, thousands of dollars, whatever. So put yourself in the shoes of a customer. If you've had your homemaker set for 30 plus years, right? You bought it from a random college kid, and that was the last time, like the only time you've seen Cutco, right? And then you're at this random state fair, and you just see this Cutco booth, you're like, oh my gosh, Cutco's still in business, right? And you go up and you're asking a couple of questions, or you're just talking to the rep, and then all of a sudden the rep's like, well, have you ever considered adding onto your set? Well, of course not. If they had it for 30 years and all they have is a homemaker, obviously they haven't thought of it, right? So what would you need to hear to go from, I've had this for 30 years, never, you know, haven't done anything else with it. This is the first time seeing Cutco, to next thing you know, you're dropping $2,000 on an upgrade, right? So you want to take them through that process. So a structure that I like to have, at least with talking to customers, is first and foremost always building rapport with them, right? Oh, you have Cutco? Oh, I thought you looked like a sharp customer, right? They always love that, right? High five, fist pump, whatever. Just build up rapport and start to like lower that guard. then you want to offer service, then you want to do some investigating, you want to intrigue them, present the package, and then close.
You do it again.
Build rapport, service, investigation, intrigue them, present the package, close. Of course. So building rapport, just talked about it. Hey folks, how's it going? I like to say folks versus guys, because you might get that one couple's like, well, she's not a guy, we're gone, right? So it happens like once in a while, right? So I just like to say, hey folks, Ray Sumner actually taught me that like years ago. How's it going? You own Cutco, thought you looked like sharp customers, haha, fist bump, right? That physical contact as well. And then we've all, at Net, Curtis talked about your personal story. And he also ingrained this in me, right? So just once you start to build that connection with them, which is then you just want to introduce yourself. Cool. Hey, just so you know who I am, my name is Vernon. I've been with Cutco for 13 years. I service the entire state of Wisconsin and other parts of the Midwest. And I've also been personally trained by Cutco on how to properly sharpen customers' knives, make sure you're fully educated with what's going on here at the booth. And I also train other reps to do that as well. So that you don't think that I just woke up, today and decided to sell some knives today at the state fair, right? So I do work directly with the company. So if you do have any questions, regarding your Cutco, I can definitely help you out with that. Speaking of which, when was the last time you had your Cutco sharpened? Right? Oh, you've never had it, right? And then you go into offering that free service. Even for the guests that are here, you can say, cool, well, what's awesome is that I know a lot of awesome like sharp reps in the area that service their customers. And so what I can do is I can take down your information, I can give it to them. And then when they're going to be in your area, they can reach out to you. Or if you know exactly what pieces need to be sent in, whatever, fill out that online service request form right then and there for them. Or send them an email on how to do it, right? Just always offer that service first, because just like Curtis was basically talking about, they're used to, especially at the state fair, people just sell. So when you take them out of that environment, now you're offering service, you're making them laugh, like, oh, this feels different, this is cool, right? That's also why, like, for me personally, for like my booth setup, I like to push my tables back a little bit and have the wellness mats up front, so they're like kind of like stepping into the booth. So it's like legit separating them from like all the busyness. All right, so get all the sharpening service done, and then the investigating. We all have heard all these same questions, right? How did you get it? And you all know that depending on the answer that they give you determines the direction that you're going to go for basically the rest of that pitch, right? So you want to know if they got it from Costco, a college kid, a gift, if they literally just randomly bought it online, which happens once in a while. If they bought it at an estate sale, they bought it at the fair years ago, or if they inherited it from their mother, grandmother, you want to know that, right? You want to find out exactly what they have. Do you have a few pieces, or do you have a set? You have a set? Great. Does it have one? Is it in a block? Is it in a tray? Is it in a block? Cool. Does it have one hole in the middle or two? Two? Okay, so it's got 8 steak knives on the bottom. Awesome. So all these right here, right? And then have you added on anything since then? All right, so it's just this. Great. Right? So you don't have any of our cookware or flatware? Not yet? All right, sounds good. Okay, like, no, not yet. See what you did there. Awesome. Okay, so you find out exactly what they have, and cool. So which ones are your favorites? And then whatever they're telling me their favorites are, that's going to tell me what are the new pieces that I'm going to intrigue them with later on. Right? Like, oh yeah, the trimmer, that's definitely my favorite. Nice. What do you like to use that one for? Oh, I like to use it for blah, 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 blah. Awesome. Yeah, a lot of my customers say the exact same thing. And if I had to guess based off my experience, that's a key line, based on my experience, this is probably like one of the dullest knives that you have. It probably even looks like a straight edge at this point. And if I had to guess, probably like right around like the very tip of the knife, because you're probably just doing a lot of slicing. I'm like, yeah, actually, I do that, right? Which is actually why Cutco came out with this version of the trimmer. Have you seen this before? right? Very smooth transition. Like, no, what is this? It's called the Santoku trimmer. You guys know how to sell the Santoku trimmer, right? So like the more logic you can bring into showing them the newer pieces, you want your customers to do like a lot of nodding and saying like, oh, that makes sense. The more they say that, the more head nods you have, the more upgrades that you're going to sell to them, right? They say they love the chef knife, like awesome. What do you love about the chef knife? Like they say, I just love like the weight of it, showing them the veggie knife, right? Showing them the cleaver. Okay. If they're like, oh, I just love that it chops on my food, I'll ask them, cool, do you ever feel like it's just too big sometimes to use on like a daily basis? They say, yes, the seed Santoku. Oh, you'll love this one. And sometimes I'll always show them one because I'll say like a lot of our customers even use like a trimmer for like a chopping knife sometimes, which goes away at the points, which is why Cutco came out with this one. It's a trimmer size chef knife. They're like, oh, that makes sense, right? So that's the intriguing part where you're showing them the new pieces based off what they already have and what they told you are their favorites, okay? So I like to get them, excited about 1 to 3 items and then ask them, cool, hey, I'm just curious, would you ever consider adding on to your set? Because changing that, have you to would you, it's like, and in the future, would you ever consider adding on to your set? After you just showed them a couple pieces that they really liked. Because now 9 times out of 10, they'll be like, they'll say, yeah, I would consider it. Awesome. And then you go into your upgrade approach. Awesome, because what's great is that a lot of our customers have the same exact set that you have. And what happened back in the 50s and 60s, our customers that had the set were writing in letters to Cutco, asking them to make more knives, right? Because the challenge with the set is that there's one of every piece in here, so it just gets overused all the time. Like, trust me, like it's not uncommon where I see a customer that's had the set for like 20, 30 years, and we have to send back the whole entire set because they just overuse it, right? And just depending on like the flow of the show, I'll use my mom as an example, because she hates to cook and she's had the set for 10 years and we sent it in twice already, right? Because she just uses it so much, even though she hates to cook, okay? So some of those pieces that I just showed you are some of our customer requested pieces. Here's like another one, right? So we all heard Curtis talking about your fave 5. So that's the best time to show it there. And again, you want to tie in logic to it versus just like showing them a bunch of random pieces. Okay. With the upgrade approach, now just so you know, as you can probably see here at the fair, a lot has changed with the product line with Cutco. Like, not a lot of customers also know that we have like cookware and flatware and some of our outdoor knives as well. It's just like passively showing it to them. So when they're like, oh yeah, I didn't know you had cookware, right? So when you get done with the knives and all that, then you can bring that back and say, oh, like you mentioned before, you know we have cookware. Could you guys use some good cookware, right? So, but that's just a simple plug into that. And for those of us that are like focusing on the kitchens, when you're start to go into the upgrade, then you can say, cool. Now, obviously, that we can upgrade your knife set. But then, you see that we have the cookware and flatware. So just so I know, if you were looking to adding onto your collection, would it just be the knives, or would you want like a little bit of everything, or maybe like something in between? So, right then and there, if they're like, what exactly they're looking for. Because if they say, oh, well, no, we actually could use some good cookware too. Okay, great. Well, let me show you what the upgrade package is, and then I'll show you what the bundle deal is with the cookware. Okay, so obviously, since the upgrade and the knives are the priority, you're gonna dive into that, and we know that it's all about the concept of it. So you don't need to go through like every single piece for them, but it's just like, cool. So I'm gonna show you what like the most popular upgrade options are, based on what you have. And I like to show 3 sets if possible. So even if they have a homemaker, since we have the fan set, I'll show like the family, the complete, and then the fan set just for fun kind of thing. It's just like, hey, if you just want everything, this is what we have, right? You definitely don't need it, Mrs. Jones, but like you need it. Like if you're just like a fan, like a Cutco fanatic, you just want all the knives, this is what we got, right? But then, so just as you're showing the newer items, the reason why, like for me, I like to show more of like those ultimate pieces, so that when you're showing the ultimate upgrade, most of the pieces you just show them are in that complete package. So when I'm showing like the family upgrade, it's more like, well, you get like a couple of the add-ons, right? So you get like the mini chopping knife I talked about, you get that barbecue champion knife I mentioned, and then a couple other good ones. But then the full upgrade is where you get like everything else. Okay. And this is the set that's most popular amongst my customers because it's your complete toolbox for the kitchen. And I like to share stories with my customers because a lot of times you have customers that are like, I'll never use all those pieces, or that's just a lot. So I usually say, yeah, like I had a customer in Oshkosh, she came up to the booth and told me straight up, like, I don't cook. And she ends up buying a set. And then when I sharpen her knives a couple of years later, she tells me that she uses every single knife in that set. So if she doesn't cook and she uses every single knife, knowing that y'all have a family, you really love your Cutco, you for sure use everything here. And just like Curtis said, you want to keep it simple. Okay. So when you explain the upgrade program, you mentioned how like you mentioned the word simple, and you say, yeah, like all it is, you keep all your existing knives. We just send you the newer block with the rest of the set, and then everything just fits in the new block. And because you're a customer, you're going to get your preferred customer specials and deals here at the state fair. So you want to time into the fair and mention, like, obviously you're here at the state fair. Biggest event that we do, this is the Super Bowl. People come to the state fair for the deals. We have people that wait all year, right? And we are a customer of mine. Next year, you get one of these in the mail. And I send golden tickets to my customers, right? Like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, right? So you make it really fun, and they're like, oh, I want to be part of that crew, right? So just imagine getting one of these in the mail from me next year, Mr. Jones. So it's great, you know, you're here at the state fair and your preferred customer, right? So and all of our preferred customers are saving between, you know, whatever your deals are, between 5 and 25% off, et cetera, whatever, right? And what I like to do going through the upgrade, the reason why I like to show the Santoku trimmer first is because that doesn't come in a traditional upgrade. But when I'm showing them the rest of it, I tell them like, and what's great is if there's like a piece or two that you feel like you wouldn't use, but you really like the first piece I showed you, we can customize that into that because you're here at the state fair and you're a preferred customer, right? But then if they like everything, then that's a great segue into the fan set upgrade. Like, oh, so, you know, we're getting the upgrade here. Remember that Santoku trimmer I showed you earlier? That actually comes in this exclusive upgrade that hardly anyone knows about. So you see all these pieces over here? These are the exclusive pieces. So you know this cheese knife that comes in your upgrade? Customers love this so much that the cheese knife made twins a couple years ago. Okay? And when customers come like, oh, I have the cheese knife. Oh, great. Did you know they had twins? No, what? Like, oh, yeah, check these out. Oh, they're so cute, right? You gotta have the whole family together, Mr. Jones. That's right. Mr. Jones, we know that people love their paring knives, and Cutco knows that the paring knife just got dull very quickly, and people hated being without their paring knife for 2 weeks. So we have 4 more paring knives that you can get. So that way, whenever you have to send in a couple paring knives, you still have some of your favorites at home. Okay. And one of the things that Curtis taught me, again, tying logic into it, I love showing the gourmet paring knives, because one thing that he says is the way that Cutco designed the blade is that they're able to put a more durable edge on it, so it's say sharper, longer for you. They're like, oh, that makes sense, right? You can never have too many chef knives in your set, Mr. Jones. So the fan set upgrade, you actually get a couple more, okay? And with the complete upgrade, I mentioned that sending in your Cutco, because I like to use like that pain of it, right? Where it's like, Mr. Jones, obviously you've had this forever. This isn't just a purchase you're going to get, you know, today. It's going to be gone in a couple of weeks, right? So when I like send in my customers like smaller sets like yours, they hate that they had to be without their set for a couple of weeks. But all my customers that have the full set, whenever we send in like 20 some knives, they still have a whole set they can use at home. So again, that makes sense. The one thing I love about selling to either new customers or presenting an upgrade to a past customer is when you have people come up to the booth, especially if they're like your customer, right? And you like know that they have, you know, the ultimate or whatever. Then you ask them, hey, Mr. Jones, what do you like about your big set? Like, oh, I really love that flexible one. They call all the watermelons. I'm like, yeah, see, told you, right? Or like when they come up and you ask the customer, like, oh, do you have like any of these items right here? And you know, if it's the cheese knife, like, oh yeah, that's my go-to favorite, right? And then I love when customers like, are you just like setting us up? I'm like, yeah, I got a little like button down here. So whenever I have a sucker in front of me, I just ask people to comment and help me out. Okay. But they love it. They love it. Or my favorite thing is like when customers are just going off on how much they love Cutco. I say, yeah, this is my Aunt Susie and Uncle Jim. And clearly it's not for obvious reasons. But they love it. They love it, right? And you know, one time that happened, and she's like, my name is actually Sue. I'm like, no way. And then our last landlords actually ended up being Aunt Sue. It's kind of funny. Yeah. So she gave us a discount on the rent. But anyway, so when you have customers come up to the booth, like utilize them for that testimonial, right? Especially when it's like, oh yeah, that boning knife that you gave me, you know, you told me that it was great for raw meats, and man, you're totally right. Okay. And if you don't have people doing that, just remember those stories of like, yeah, I had a customer that she was a little iffy on this one piece for raw meats, but she loved it so much she called me back and bought 3 more, which is what happened. Okay. So any way that you can have a social proof, the better. How am I doing on time? You're good. Okay, sweet. All right. So when you show the couple upgrade options, just how we do the 3 set close, same thing with the upgrades, right? All right, Mr. Jones. So this is your set, your upgrade. So knowing that you'd never have to upgrade again, right? This would be your dream set. Which option would you prefer to go with, right? Then they tell you. So now you go into price positioning. I didn't have that on here, but that's part of the close. All right, so you ready for the fun part? I'm like, yeah, lay it on me. Like, okay, now when you fall over, just make sure you fall on the squishy mats in front of that you're standing on. Okay, it'll lighten the blow. Like, okay, I'm ready. Now, do you happen to remember how much you spent on this set when you got it 30 years ago? And Quentin actually says this line, which I really like, where you want them to say like an actual price, right? And if they don't remember, then you can ask, well, was it like a few $100s or a few $1,000s? Right? So you want them to give like some kind of price. And then to price position, you say, cool, well, just so you know that this set now, the retail value of it, like piece style, all that, it's a $1,700 set. We're like, oh my gosh. Like, yeah, so you got it good, you know, when you got it back then. But, you know, bread was like 50 cents, you know, back then too, you know. They're like, oh yeah, that's right, you know. Yeah, just all of that. Because it's like they understand that like prices obviously go up, but they don't understand like how much it's gone up, right? And then the set that you're upgrading to, Mr. Jones, this is a whatever $1,000 set. Okay. But because you're here at the state fair, what we do is we give you the full retail value of your set in today's market and take it off the price of the set that you're upgrading to. So instead of taking $500 off, you're going to get $1,700 off. How awesome is that, Mr. Jones? So now your upgrade is this. And the other cool thing, Mr. Jones, because you're going through me and you're here at the state fair and your preferred customer, if you didn't want to do this in full, you can split this up over 5 months completely interest-free. I love saying that because for those of you that didn't know, if they like went online, they can only do a 3-pay online. So I love utilizing the 5-pay as a show special. Okay. The other thing, like with the upgrade over the last few years, people like super hyped up the cutting boards. And you know, I laughed a little bit, but I'm like, it's actually legit because when you talk about the cutting boards, they actually get really excited about them. Okay. So the upgrade like actually comes with our forever boards, Mrs. Jones. So if you didn't know, plastic polypropylene is the best material for your knife. So when you see scratches, that's a really good thing. But what's great is that when they get super scratched up, super ugly looking, you don't throw them away like all your other cutting boards, right? Just send it in to Cutco. They either sand it down to resurface it, or they buy you new cutting boards for free for life. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. Again, that comes with your upgrades. So now you can replace all of your other cutting boards as well. Okay. And then the best part about your upgrade, Mr. Jones, is that you get me. That's exactly how I would say it, with a big smile. Right. And I'm worth the $2,000 alone. But then you just build more credibility in yourself. That's the whole point of the personal story in the beginning. And then saying that is that you establish yourself as a professional. You establish yourself as a leader of the conversation, and they trust you. And the thing is, like, customers, they don't understand our business. So whether if you've been in business for 4 years and you have 400 customers, or 20 years or 20,000 customers, either way, they're going to be blown away. Because you're not the college kid that was a one-night stand. Okay? Like Mr. Jones, like, this is what I do full time. I'm here to take care of you, right? That's why, like, I love saying the phrases that Curtis says where, you know, my professional suggestion is this, or based off my experience, this is what you should do, okay? Well, my customers really like to do this because of A, B, and C. And it's all coming from a place of service. It's all coming from a place of professionalism, and just letting them know, like, I know what I'm doing. I'm here to help you with whatever you need. Okay. So when you're going through the upgrade, and we all hear the customer like, well, how much is just a cheese knife? Great question, Mr. Jones. I can definitely look that up for you. But just so you know, the average Cutco knife now is about $150 a knife, which is why customers like to do the upgrade, because it's a much better price break and because of the deals and discounts that we have here at the State Fair. So let me just show you what else comes in the upgrade and how it works. And if you still want the cheese knife, I will sell the heck out of that cheese knife for you, and you'll love that. And she's like, okay, cool. So then with the clothes, on top of everything that they were mentioning, with the price positioning, using the State Fair as a reason of, like, this is why you want to get it now because of A, B, and C, biggest show that we do, right? Cutco lets us do, like, the best deals here, et cetera, et cetera. Now, just so I know, Mr. Jones, like I mentioned before, we have other things besides knives. Is there anything else you'd want to add or bundle to your upgrade? Because when you do that, Cutco allows me to give you a better bundle discount. No, I think we'll just stick with the upgrade. Awesome. Let me show you how it works, okay? Now, one of my favorite things to do, like, once I get the credit card, is basically talk about the family program, but in a way where you transition from just doing an upgrade to now buying a whole ultimate set and giving that homemaker as a gift, okay? So, you know, Mr. Jones, I'm just curious. Do you have any kids or grandkids at home? You do? Okay. Well, I'm sure that you would agree that if you got this as a gift 30 years ago, as a wedding or Christmas gift, it's probably one of the best gifts that you would have ever received. I mean, what other product have you had for the last 30 years that you use on a daily basis and is basically still in great working condition? Like, oh, nothing? Exactly. So, like, what would have been like if someone gave you this set as a gift 30 years ago? That would have been incredible, right? And again, you probably would say it'd be the best gift that you would ever given. That's why a lot of our customers love to give the legacy gift of Cutco to their kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, friends, neighbors, because it's one of those rare items that they're actually going to use for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And what's the whole point of the gift, Mrs. Jones? You want them to use it. You want it to last a long time. And selfishly, you want them to think of you whenever they use it. And Cutco checks all the boxes for that. So what a lot of my customers do, you know, if you want, what I've noticed is that if they have a child that they want to give Cutco to, what we can do is we can just start you off with a brand new full set of knives. And then what I'll do is I'll just send you a prepaid shipping label, and we can send back your whole entire set that you have now to Cutco. Get it completely refurbished, completely repolished, probably even replace a couple of knives for free. Now you got a wedding or Christmas gift for one of your kids. You're like, huh, really? And yeah, and because you're doing it here at the State Fair, let me show you what that looks like as far as like your preferred customer deal, discount special, whatever. Right? And then you ask the question, by the way, how many kids do you have? Because then what's great is you can utilize the Cutco discount that's already in the Ultimate, and then whatever you choose to do beyond that, they see it's a much better deal than the deal on the upgrade, where versus instead of, you know, saving whatever, 5-10%, now you're saving like 20-25%, because you're getting as a brand new set. One thing I have with steak knife, something that helps me like also with like flatware, but also just when you're doing upgrades, even doing like a full set with steak knives, I tell customers, you know, if there's one piece of Cutco that you should have an abundant amount of, it's your steak knives. Because most times when we use them, we're cutting on glass plates, which obviously dulls them very quickly, right? So this way, whenever you have to send in a set of steak knives, you always have a sharp set at home. And so what do you think they're thinking? Oh, that makes sense. So a lot of our customers love to start off with their upgrade with a brand new fresh set of 12 steak knives, and then you just put your 8 butter knives in the drawer. But this is your upgrade. What would you want to do? Right? So I present my suggestion, but then I give them full control to tell me like what they want. Okay. And then basically like one of the last things that I have, you know, it's kind of like a very simple, maybe basic tip, but for me, it's just having fun with your customers. You know, like Nick mentions, it's not uncommon where if you're working an event with me, you hear my customers like yelling my name down the aisle. Like, Vernon, is that you? Like, yes, Dave, it's me. Come on up and bring your credit card. Okay. But just have a lot of fun with your customers. You know, use those cheesy jokes. I gave a talk in Net about engaging customers at the booth. So when you hear anyone mention Cutco, like call it out, right? Like, oh, you have these knives over here? You have this? How long have you had it for? Do you have this way over here? I don't care if it's like, you know, a table knife or a peeler or something, right? But you just want to get them to the booth. And sometimes, I don't know if you've noticed, but it's almost like they want you to hear it. Like they'll all of a sudden be whispering like Cutco's, you know, like they want you to hear that they know that you know that they have Cutco, right? So when you hear them, like pull them over, bring them over there. And if they're like, no, I'm good. I'm like, oh, well, do you want your knife sharpened for free? Right? Like, oh, well, tell me about that. All right, bring your ass here. All right. And then you offer that service and obviously still sell at the booth. But that's how you get those raving customers that want to come back. So that you have fun, you build that credibility in yourself, and you tell them like, hey, I don't care like if you want one item, if you want the whole upgrade, you want the whole kitchen, I'm here to help you. Because you know you'll be back year after year, right? Buying from me over and over and over and over again. Okay. And then when you tell them like the best part about buying Cutco is because you also get me, right? You tell them about your service. You tell them about like the offers that you have. You tie them into like, you know, your Cutco family and what you do for them. So they know like I'm your personal Cutco representative. Okay. And one of my favorite lines to say, whether they're mentioning anything about Costco or if like, well, can I just buy it online, whatever, I tell them like, yeah, you can 100% do that. But when you have a question regarding Cutco, do you want to call their 1-800 number and be on hold for like 10 minutes? Or do you want to call my cell phone number?
Don't get distracted. It's just food.
Oh, it's just food, yeah. So then they're like, oh, well, I guess I'd rather call you. Yeah, exactly. You can follow me on Facebook, right? You can join my Facebook group. So that's the whole thing, Mr. Jones, is like, I'm your personal representative. I literally had a customer text me and say, all right, Vernon, I'm cooking this for dinner. What do I use for what? I looked at their file and said, use this knife for this, use this knife for that, use this knife for this. Especially when they tell you like, you know, this is great, Vernon, but I feel like I'm going to I'm going to need some kind of instruction manual to tell me what to use all these knives for. Well, that's why you have me. Okay. I have videos that teach you what to use the knives for. I'll make sure that Cutco sends a product care guide in your box with you. If you have questions on what to use this for, call me. But as soon as you use this for raw meats, you're going to know this is my raw meat knife. As soon as you use this to cut any melons, you're going to know this is the melon knife, right? Like Mr. Jones, like when you take this flavor and you just like cut through some frozen chicken or something, you just know like this is my bad boy, right? When the husband's acting up, like this is what you bust out, okay? So you just have that fun and you have that confidence with them and with yourself, so they know that like I'm the professional, I'm here to help you, I know what I'm doing, right? Trust me, okay? Do we have time for Q&A?
Yeah, we get that.
Okay, that's what I got. Oh boy, Curtis.
So you mentioned that you asked them, do they have children? And let's say they respond with 3 children.
Mm-hmm.
You still try to get them to buy the ultimate brand new and give one child a set and then like 2 sets, or
Yes.
you still just do. Okay.
No, yeah. So definitely get all 3 of them, and then I would just say we don't have to tell them that the one child's getting the older set, right? Or the one child doesn't have to know they're getting the used set, okay? And then we'll do like the bundles, like okay. Oh, and one question that I asked too is okay, well, for your kids, whether if it's this set or not, would you get them the same size set, bigger or smaller? So if they're like, well, I think I'd give them something a little bit bigger or the same set or smaller. Okay, great. Family program, some of the sets. Here's what you got. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
You hesitated.
There's more. So there's more there.
You hesitated. I watched your body.
Well, the reason why I say that is, what would prevent you from telling them, well, why don't you put that smaller set in the second home or an RV, give the kids a set, and then you do your full upgrade and then go that route?
I think it just depends on the situation. Like if I just bring up kids right away, because that's just using my go-to for, we'll send back your homemaker set for sharpening and give as a gift, and you get the ultimate. How many other kids do you have? So I'll usually like start that way. And then hopefully if I'm a good rep, then I'll ask them, cool, is this for your primary home or do you have other vacation homes?
I was just challenging.
Yes. Does that answer your question?
That's about it.
All right, good. You had your hand up first.
I was just gonna comment that I do that sometimes, but I don't bring up the whole refurbish the set and everything until everything else is done. Which I think would solve what you were asking, because it would complicate it if you're trying to buy an upgrade and then like refurbish one set and then add on 2 sets. I think by that point you already know that they have 3 kids and you're trying to go down that route. But on the flip side, just a comment is it's not a bad thing for them to get the used set if one of the kids does. It's actually more special because it's mom's set. Right. So it's not like one's getting a used set. It's like, who's your favorite? We're gonna give them your set and then we'll get the other 2 sets.
Yeah.
Just a different perspective.
Yeah. And it's really like, however, like the customer flips it too. Like,
Sure.
oh, I don't want to give them the used set.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you can say that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or we'll just give this used set to your least favorite child. Right. And then they always laugh and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think Q is.
So when you're priced with it, you said like, so the set you're upgrading to is worth this much. Are you saying like, it's this price or like this retail?
The retail.
So what Vernon does, just to clarify it, he'll go, so the set that you'd be upgrading, the normal retail value of that set is $4,200. But the cool thing is that you need the full retail value of the set. $1,700 off, which then gives you the discount, so your price is only $100. The reason why it starts with $4,200 is because it freaks them out, and then you give them the $1,700 discount, and they're like, okay, I'm not spending that, I'm only spending $1,500, and then they're more likely to go, oh yeah, so let's do that. Emotions run high when you say $4,000, and then when they're seeing only $1,500, then they're like, oh, I can swing that.
So first when you do the upgrade, say they're upgrading, and do you bring the
bring that up with the family after the credit card, or do you bundle that first together and then ask for like closing and then that way?
Ask that again.
So my question is, do you ask for, with the bundling package, like, do you close them first on the upgrade and get their credit card and then upsell them, or do you present all the packaging and everything and create that and then close and then credit card?
Yeah, so for me, I definitely like 9 times out of 10 get the credit card first, but most times I'm also just going with the flow. So if we're like in a good flow, I'm like, yeah, so like I mentioned how we have other things. I'm just curious, is there anything else you'd want to bundle with this, right? So then if they're like, oh yeah, tell us about the cookware, I'm like, okay, cool. Well, let me just kind of like finish up this part here first. Which card did you want to use real quick? Okay, great. And then I'll, talk about the cookware, fireware, whatever. So I always like to like go with the flow too. Yeah.
Same thing with the like upgrading to an ultimate from an ultimate upgrade. Like get to $75. Like
yeah,
they're committed to the upgrade.
That I 100% will like. Let's get the card first. Yeah, because it's more like, hey, here's an idea, by the way. Yeah. Fine.
Logically, what are your top 5 compliments, not duplicates, but compliments?
Yeah. For when I'm just intriguing them with the newer pieces. Yeah. So I like Santoku trimmer, would complement the regular trimmer. The 5-inch Santoku to complement either the big chef knife and or the trimmer as well. The 5-inch petite Santoku, yeah. So to complement basically both the French chef knife and the trimmer. The Hardy slicer to complement. I basically tell them like the butcher knife and the petite carver in one. The veggie knife. Huh? I didn't hear anything. Okay. Salmon knife.
What does that compliment?
The veggie knife. So that would either complement the chef knife, or when I'm asking about the chef knife, I'll ask him to use this for. Do you happen to use this for melons and or squash? And when I say yes, then I'll present the problems like based on my experience, adults, chips, whatever. That's why Cutco made this piece. So it just depends on the situation. Same thing with the salmon knife. That's also when I'll introduce the salmon knife as well. If they and I also have like maybe a bonus 6 with like the boning knife. If they mention, oh, they really like the petite carver, then I know that they like meat. So I'm like, cool, do you cut cooked meats, raw meats, or both? Oh, both? Check this guy.
What does that compliment?
So the salmon knife and veggie knife, I use that for the solution of the problem that I'm using the chef knife for melons and squash. And that's when I present those items. Yeah.
And a really quick thing to throw in there is the medium pick it up. He literally asked them, are you a carnivore? Do you eat meat? And if they say yes, then he responds, oh, well, we don't have any of the meat knives, so I can tell you. I watched him in a service of 30 minutes. So he's very particular about that. Oh, so you are a carnivore, you do eat meat? They're like, yeah. He's like, oh, we don't have any of the meat knives. And then he dives into the salmon, the bone knife, and the heart.
So what if they say like, no, I don't eat meat, I'm vegetarian?
So the salmon knife for melons, veggie knife for squash, sweet potatoes, root vegetables, Hardy slicer for sweet potatoes, smaller root vegetables as well. And so when especially when I'm like mentioning pieces that can be used for the same thing, I tell them like, remember, Mrs. Jones, this is your complete toolbox for the kitchen for the rest of your life. You don't want to use the same knife for the same thing every single day, because you're going to be really upset whenever I have to send you your knife every single year and you're without it for almost a month.
So it's like the same time to get full set, you're trying to like upgrade and falling on those pieces.
Yeah, it's kind of like, when we talk about the ultimate and we say how this comes with 3 chef knives, because Cutco knows the chef knife is like the most used knife in the set. So that's why you have the right chef knife for the right job. Yeah, my pleasure. Any other questions?
And then I'll do that. You said the bonus thing is like the boning, that complements the cheap carver and the
The petite fiber, yeah. Especially when they say they do both cooked and raw meats. Yeah. Bonds?
Why is getting the darker handle more of a commitment?
Because once you go black, you never go back. And I tell them that too. I'm like, well, I want the dark handles. All right, well, you know, it's a bigger commitment, right?
Any other questions for Vernon?
And stop the recording.
Hard stuff.
Any other questions? Okay, Vernon.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get some nuggets. What you guys learn from Vernon?
Then if the customer says they like a piece, you have 3 other pieces that.
Yep. Awesome. Yep. Hey, let's keep it down for a second. Hey guys, let's keep it down for a sec. Yeah, Calvin.
The structure, you can tell he's got a plan. I think he's got access to each next part so that we need to prepare so do it so we can maximize that.
Yep.
I like just talking about, I mentioned that you were getting like 30, 40 years ago. That'd be
Yeah, for sure.
Like putting anybody, you got to say, what, like, how much did you buy? Do you know, like, when they got the system and then, you know, like,
Yeah, for sure. Too.
I like how he's digging that on these pieces before he's asking.
Yeah, for sure. Just diving in. Love it. Yeah, the Santoku trimmer thing, that was like mind blowing to me. I don't know why, but it's like you show it and you're like, oh yeah, it's not even the upgrade. You show the upgrade and you're like, oh yeah, and there's this exclusive upgrade. It's like, what?
Yeah. Well, what about that piece? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I found it missed it.
Oh, I
Yeah.
can tell you are 7.
Anything else? Awesome. Well, I think we're just about set up for food. So, yeah. We're gonna break for lunch here. We're gonna start back up at 1 o'clock. I did order a ton of food because I know there are some people in here that think they're 16 and play high school football yet, but I would ask first plate around, just don't load it up like you're never gonna eat again. Make sure there's enough for everybody. You can always go back for seconds, okay? But I know there's a ton of food and there should be plenty for everybody, even if you want to eat like that. But yeah, so yeah, we'll break for lunch. Enjoy it, and 1 o'clock we'll start back up.
Sucks.